Hello there guys, Aaron Charner here for Forever Football DRFC, your Doncaster Rovers fan channel. Welcome to the Footy Talk series where we were talking all things football with some special guests, and today's guest is extremely important to the history of the club. He's the man that took us from nothing and became us into something. It is the one and only former chairman John Ryan. John, how are you doing?
Great, thanks. Great.
Oh, fantastic!
Even better after Cops got the goal on Saturday after that horrible start. My God!
Oh, it was a brilliant game, really good game, and there's loads of reports that he's going to do a U-turn and sign one more year.
Well, I hope so. I always regard him as, along with Billy Sharp, as my best signing of my era. That's for sure.
Yeah. So today's all about speaking about how you bought the club, and it became something amazing in the time that you owned the club. And we're also going to go through the future. What do you think about what direction the club's going in at the minute under David Blunt, Gavin Baldwin, the chief executive, and the head of recruitment Adam Henschel? Because I think with the talent on display at the minute, it's very exciting. But let's go back to when you first bought the club. We just finished under the Ken Richardson era, Mark Weaver and Danny Bergara coaching the club. Rovers went into this rock bottom stage of the club's history. We were out of the Football League. We needed a new lease of life. Obviously, back when the Think It's All Over documentary was filmed, I think the main buyer that was interested was Anton Johnson, who was known as the fix-it of football, the king of clubs at the time. So, what made you want to buy a club that was at such a rock bottom stage? And what made you think that you could, bring the club back to glory after where it was when you bought it?
Well, first of all, of course, I'm from Doncaster and was an avid Doncaster Rovers fan from the age of 7. So when the club hit really bad times, and a lot of people don't know this, but I actually joined the board in 1989. Prior to the Richardson era, and myself and Mike Collett tried to get it before Richardson did, but anyway, various shenanigans went on and we didn't get it, and Richardson got it. And of course that's when I decided to leave, because I realised Richardson's motives were not honourable, to say the least, and I was proved right, because he was obviously burnt the stand down, got 4 years inside, and left the club completely decimated. I walked behind the funeral procession at the last game, which I thought would be my last ever game, the Colchester game in 1997, the end of that terrible season. We lost 1-0, but that was irrelevant. We'd already been relegated out the league, and I thought that was it. Not much anyone could do, but a chap called Ray Thomas, good friend of mine, contacted me and said, "Look, John, you might be able to somehow get the club." Anyway, in the end, the Irish people had given Richardson, much to my disgust, $4 million for the lease on Bellevue, because they wanted to develop the land. So he got 4 years, but unfortunately got $4 million to go with it. But anyway, I was only interested in the football side, which they weren't interested in. And in the end, myself and Peter Wetzel bought it for $50,000. And, to be honest, to spend $50,000 on a bankrupt football club was crazy. But that didn't matter to me, because I loved and still love Doncaster Rovers. It's my team. I could have been chairman of Man City. I was offered that once, but no chance. As far as I'm concerned, there's only one club that I was going to put my money into. Anyway, we're in the conference then, and I had to give them $100,000 just to be allowed to go in the conference. So very hard times. You had Dean and Glenstoning came in, and it was a hard grind. 5 years in the conference. There were met a lot of good people in there, grassroots really, and I always knew we'd get out. I always had this belief. I'm a very positive person, and as far as being chairman of Doncaster Rovers at that time, you had to be incredibly positive because there was just nothing but bad news.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of negative publicity around Doncaster Rovers, and I think sometimes we still get that now. We still get loads of rivals, making a mockery of us even today, giving us loads of tags like Doncaster Rovers, and you're not going to be anything.
Well, I think that, yeah. Yeah, but I don't think that's in the same class. I mean, we were known as Doncaster Nil or Doncaster Useless, whatever it may be. And that's why I had to go on a massive PR offensive to change, not so much what people thought of it outside Doncaster. I was more interested in turning people inside Doncaster towards Doncaster Rovers, because you wore around the town in those days, everyone had a Leeds shirt on or a Wednesday shirt, even a Barnsley shirt. And but by the time I'd finished, several years later obviously, I used to see loads of Rover shirts, and that made my heart feel good. Whenever I see those red and white hoops, which I was particularly keen to bring back, because they were back. We used to have the hoops in the great seasons in the 1940s when we had a record, before my time even, when we had a record number of points. So, to get Doncaster Rovers up and going, I had to do things. I played for the club for a few minutes. I did all sorts of PR things to get Doncaster Rovers on the map. Other than, this is a club where the guy burnt the stand down.
Yeah, and it was very important that we got back to good times. And I think during the conference times, it was just a case of, over the next few years, keep rebuilding the club. I mean, you're looking at the first season we were in the conference back in 98-99. I'm looking at the stats. 12 wins, 12 draws, 18 losses, 16th place finish, but we did get the Conference League Cup. We got it 2 years running. So, it wasn't all bad times in the conference, and I think gradually the win record increased over the years, and it all led up to that 2002-2003 season when we got the 22 wins, the 12 draws, the 8 losses, we got third place, and we won the playoff final with that Sir Francis Tierney goal against Dagenham and Redbridge at the Britannia Stadium, and, feeling that sensation back in the Football League for the 2003-04 season. I mean, we saw the story about the Leyton Orient game, how you wanted your picture taken the minute the game kicked off. I mean, it was one of those just sensational moments like, yes, we're back in the Football League, we can breathe again. And I bet from your point of view as a chairman, it felt amazing to see the club back in the Football League and trying to reach new heights in the modern era of football.
Yeah, it was, because we'd been in the conference 5 years. I was hoping we'd get back sooner, but the club was so decimated that it did take a lot of rebuilding. And but year on year, Dave Penny did a great job, and year on year we improved, we got better, and as I say, it culminated in winning at Stoke City when we won against Dagenham and Redbridge. A very nerve-wracking game, 2-0 up, then back to 2-2, and then the great golden goal by Sir Francis Tierney. That was a great moment, wonderful moment.
Yeah, it was definitely a moment that'll live on. And another moment that live on is the Carling Cup run of 2005. Now, a lot of people that don't know the ins and outs of Rovers will not know about this Carling Cup run, but I mean, just to give people a reminder, round one, it was a nice 1-0 away win at Wrexham. It was a good win against a good League Two side at that time. Round two was the first big test. It was a 1-1 draw with a Manchester City under Stuart Pearce. We knocked them out 3-0 on penalties. Obviously, we know the story about the goalkeeper being injured, having a broken leg, and then Jan Butts coming in to save the day on penalties. And then we went into round three, a nice comfortable 2-0 win over Gillingham at the Keepmoat. Bellevue. It's not the Keepmoat yet. Round four, we battered Aston Villa 3-0, a Premier League Aston Villa, and then the quarter-final where we took Arsene Wenger to penalties, and it was that last-minute goal from...
That was very sad, but you've actually missed something out there, because don't forget, when we got up into the Football League, we were relegation favourites along with Carlisle and York City.
Yeah.
And we won the league that year. And that was a great achievement because we made some great signings. Fortune West, I'm trying to think who else we made. John Doolin, I think it was. And who was the goal scorer?
Michael McIndoe.
Michael McIndoe, yeah, but the other guy from Liverpool. Got him from Northwich, Victoria. What was his name?
The names escape my mind now.
Yeah, it'll come back to me. I can't believe I can't remember it. That's what comes when you get older. But he was a great goal scorer. Scored 20 goals that season. What was his name? Greg Blundell. How could I forget? Greg Blundell. So we were relegation favourites. The other two went down and we went up. And I did something very smart. It's smart in a way. I insured us against winning the league. So I promised all the boys a great big bonus if we won the league. We had to win it, not just promotion, we had to win the league. And I insured it with Lloyds of London, which you can't bet on your own team, but you can insure it. And I insured it, and thank God I did. Otherwise, it would cost me a fortune. But anyway, we won the league, beat the highly fancied Hull City, and of course, got back into League One.
Yeah. And
then, of course, that incredible cup run. We were so unlucky. I mean, after decimating Aston Villa, I mean, Doug Ellis was there. He said, we put the first team out, full first team. You haven't got a chance, John, because I knew him very well from Mallorca. And I said, well, we'll see. We're a good home team, we'll see. And Dave Penny had those boys revved up. And I know McIndoe scored the penalty, and Heffernan got a great goal. And then, of course, Sean Thornton scored a beauty as well. To win 3-0 against the top Premier team, as they were, well, they are now, I suppose, but they were then as well. And then to lose to Arsenal, I think, was probably the biggest disappointment I had at that time, because we'd won that game. We won it twice in a way, because it was 1-0. And their goal was the guy had a shot, was literally going to hit the corner flag, and it hit Sean Thornton's leg and just diverted into the net. So unlucky. And then that's 1-1. And then Greeny scored and we made it 2-1. And the game was over. And there shouldn't have been any extra time because there's no substitutions, no injuries. I did have a word with Mark Clattenburg after. So who the hell put 2 minutes up? He said, well, it wasn't me. I didn't, the fact is, he didn't allow any time. But somebody on the board decided to put 2 minutes up, and that's when they equalised, which I was very upset about. But anyway, even Arsene Wenger admitted they were totally and utterly outplayed and were very, very lucky. But there you go. That's football.
Yeah, I was gonna say, actually, did Arsene Wenger ever speak to you about that game, either on the day or after?
Yeah, afterwards. In all fairness, he was a very, very nice man. Very complimentary about our team. He said, God, half your lads could play in the Premier League. And I think in times, that's probably true. You just need the break sometimes, and mentality, I think. I mean, somebody like Cops, he should have spent several seasons in the Premier League, in my opinion, for sheer skill. But, sometimes you just need the breaks.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I'm sure the people at AFTV, the Arsenal fan channel, would love to hear how nice Wenger was as well. A good representation of their football club. And then after that Carling Cup run, I mean, we had loads of other big promotions, and obviously, the Johnson Paint Trophy final against Bristol Rovers at the Millennium Stadium. But I think the big thing that happened was, of course, that 1-0 win in the playoff final against Leeds after the 5-1 win in the second leg against Southend to get the championship for the first time in 50 years. I mean, again, it was one of those feelings that you'll never take away from football, 100%.
Well, that was a great moment for me, because that was the last of my promises, as it were. I must be the only chairman in history that said he'd do certain things, and he actually did them. I mean, I said I'd get back in the Football League. I said I'd build a new stadium. I said I'd get to a major cup final, which we did. And I also said, which was the Millennium one, when we beat Bristol Rovers 3-2. And then I said, we'll get back to the Championship, which was the holy grail after 50 years. But to beat Leeds United, the big club of Yorkshire, really, at Wembley in front of nearly 80,000 people, what a day. No one gave us a chance. They all thought we were going to lose. Leeds were just too powerful, too many supporters, all the rest of it. But the reality was I was very confident we'd win because I'd had a dream, which was reported in the Yorkshire Post in January of that year, to say that we beat Leeds in the playoff final. So I knew we'd win, and we did. The only thing that saddened me a little bit was we should have won by a lot more. The first half, we played magnificent. One of the commentators, like the Red Arrows, we were cutting through them. It should have been 3-0 at half-time. But anyway, James Hayter scored that great header. And then Neil Sullivan, what a signing he was, by the way, kept them at bay in the second half. And what a moment for the people of Doncaster. When Hayter scored that goal, to see them all go up, what a moment. And I was told, don't over-celebrate in the Royal Box, please. I'll tell you what, when that goal went in, I was giving it everything. I couldn't care less. What a moment. What a moment.
Yeah, it's a moment that will always stay in the history of Doncaster Rovers. I remember watching that game, and I remember as a fan just feeling that elation because, you know, people know this, I became a fan when I was 4 years old in 2004. I knew about Bellevue. I knew.
Well, you've seen. I tell you what, you've seen nothing but good years. I mean, somebody like me who started in '58, I had nothing but bad years. I had years and years of Hartlepool and Halifax and all these places. My God.
I think I got lucky. I think I got very, very lucky. But
best players.
But I think looking towards the future, I mean, you know, we had these wonderful years. Of course, you stepped down as chairman in 2013. You know, why did you feel like it was the right time to step down? Did you feel like it was just a progression of the club? Do you think you could find someone to take the club further, or was it just your personal decision?
Well, I wanted to go to the Premier League, and I always felt that Doncaster Rovers, we just got back as champions of League One into the Championship, and I knew we needed a major investment. And, you know, look, it's history now. I just felt that that was our moment. Both Blackpool and Bournemouth did it, and we could have done it, in my opinion. But, you know, as I say, it's a lot of water's gone under the bridge, a lot of history. I just felt that we could have had a go then, and but anyway, we didn't. And you've got to respect people's viewpoint. But I felt maybe after I'd done it for 15 years, being a chairman of a football club, and I do have sympathy for David Blunt and all the other chairmen of football clubs, because you never can win. I mean, I had nothing but tremendous success, really, apart from one relegation, 4 promotions, cup finals, and yet even I got a load of flack at times. And you think to yourself, God, why am I doing this? I put £8 to £9 million of my own money into this business. They want me to put even more money in, and I was, you know, I sold my business for 25 million, not 250 million. I mean, these days they always say if you want to become a multimillionaire in football, start as a billionaire. You know, it's a very expensive job. But I must pay tribute, by the way, to Terry Bramall and Dick Watson. And Dick Watson was a great guy, so was Terry. But Dick was a supporter like me, and it was a tragedy when he died. Well, tragedy for his family, of course, but the whole family were really incredible supporters of the club. Terry was a tremendous supporter and still is, and I'm really pleased he stuck with it, because he wasn't a natural football guy, I would say, but he's done a brilliant job, an absolute brilliant job. And, you know, people always say, oh, he could, you know, he could spend more money. You know, he's done a great job. And I know, I've been 15 years of trying to drag Doncaster Rovers up by the bootstraps, as it were, how tough it is. It really is tough, and you don't get a lot of thanks sometimes from people giving you a hard time. Funnily enough, I've had more congratulations since I left the job than I ever did when I was in it.
Yeah, and you know, you guys know I released a video when the Watson family sort of sold their shares and became just ambassadors.
Well, they didn't sell the shares. They did. I tell you what, they did what I did. They gave the shares back. I wrote up all my loans, which was several £1 million. I gave all my shares back, several £1 million. And so the Watson family did exactly the same thing. And I think that was a great gesture on their behalf. Yeah. And I must say, I miss Dick in particular. He was a fabulous guy, great supporter of the club. And it's such a shame that at least he's, you know, I watched the Leeds game, you know, the lockdown. I watched the game, it was on YouTube. And I saw Dick and I saw the glee in his eyes, and I thought, great, at least he lived long enough to see that incredible moment. Yeah. The best moment, in my opinion, that was the best moment Doncaster Rovers ever had. To win against Leeds at Wembley in front of nearly 80,000 people. What a day. And it was a nice sunny day as well.
Yeah, beautiful weather for a beautiful moment. You said earlier that you received some flack. I think one of the big things sort of towards the end of your reign as chairman, I think that some people were against, was bringing in the short-term contracts for people like Chimbonda and Peak Yong and El Hadj Diouf under the transfer strategy of Willie Mackay. I know Mackay had a bad name, but I think, you know, the general opinion amongst some fans, me included, was at least we gave it a go, and I think you admitted it was the last roll of the dice. Was there any regrets in that?
Well, you know, look, if you do one bad thing and you do 100 good things, a lot of the fans just want to go on about the one bad thing. Yeah, it was, look, I sat down with a couple of other guys at Rovers and we said, look, what can we do? We're in a perilous situation. We'll give it a go. And certainly El Hadj Diouf, it's lovely to see a player of that quality playing for Doncaster Rovers. You know, he was in the class of even cops, you know. But yeah, it didn't work, but at least we gave it a go. We'd have gone down anyway.
Yeah, and you know,
but I just like to say one thing. I got so much grief over that, and I said it, and people might remember this at the end of year do. And people, you know, we've gone down, blah, blah, blah. I made a speech and I said, look, we will be back. And we'll be back as champions. And we bloody well were. The next season, we came back. Rob Jones particularly had a great season for us. But we won 15 away games and we came back as champions the very next season. So, you know, we recovered from that very quickly. And at that moment in time, I thought we either can kick on. Unfortunately, I left probably about at the Barnsley game, we drew 0-0. I decided, no, it's not for me now. I can only see us going back. And, of course, that's exactly what we did. Yeah. But having said all that, we've now recovered and we now, I think we've got some good people. You know, Gavin's done a very good job. And we've got some good people, you know, running the club. You know, and Terry Bramall, of course, has kept there with his finance, which is very important. We've got a good stadium now, and I'm hopeful that the club can get back into the championship and stay there for a few years. You know, I mean, Barnsley are doing it, and Rotherham look like doing it as well.
Yeah, I absolutely 100% agree with that. And to be fair, like you said about the short-term contract strategy, I was one of the people that was a fan of it because, you know, we were in a situation where we didn't have the biggest money in the bank, but we had enough to do it in some way. And, you know, we did bring in some quality players. So, you know, I was a fan of that move. And speaking of the future, we've got, like you said, we've got some wonderful people in charge of the club right now, and we've got some wonderful players on the pitch. Tom Anderson's fitted into that captaincy role amazingly. We've got some wonderful youth players on the rise like your Horton, Greaves, Jones in goal.
That Horton looks a good player. He looks a good
He's
player.
yeah.
And
I
he's
think
got the physique as well, which helps. But
yeah.
I have to say, I thought the two centre-backs are great. Wright and Anderson, God, dear, they're fabulous players. I mean, that saving tackle by Wright at Gillingham on Saturday, he saved a goal. I mean, as simple as that. He
Yeah,
saved a goal.
I think
We could have lost that game 3-2. And we've never done that well at Gillingham. We didn't win very often there. So, mind you, it's like a throwback to the conference, the way they played. Long throw-ins and boot it down the middle.
yeah, Gillingham are a very annoying team to play against sometimes.
I wouldn't like to play them. I wouldn't like to watch them every week.
But yeah, it's the future's very exciting, and I think I was speaking to a Rovers fan, and and this is not my opinions, it's his opinions. He said to me, if we want to get to the top levels like the Premier League that you wanted to get to, we should bring in someone with not a financial takeover and a new owner, but someone with enough financial backing to help the club and give them an extra few million to pump in to try and reach Premier League levels. Do you think we can reach Premier League levels under the current board, or would you agree with that fan's opinions? I'll not say his name.
I think I've changed my views to a degree in the say I don't like Premier League football anymore. I actually think if the Rovers could get into the Championship, which I think is far the better league, you've got great teams in there like Forest and Derby County, and plenty of good teams in there. That I think is the ideal league for Rovers to be in. I think if we could get into the Championship and maintain the Championship, that would be our ideal scenario. I think the Premier League has moved away. I think I don't like the VAR. Your left fingernails offside, and I don't know. I just don't like. I don't like the Premier League football. In fact, I even stopped my BT Sports. Oh God, I'm fed up with watching it. I just rather watch the Rovers, to be honest. It's been great for me on iPlayer because I can watch all the games.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to agree with you with the Premier League. I think even Premier League fans can say it doesn't feel like it was back in 2008, 2009 when you had your Sir Alex Fergusons and Hull City coming up for the first time, and it felt more of a tight league when you see your Boltons and your Middlesbroughs fighting near the top seven, and it don't feel like the proper Premier League anymore. It feels like Man City and Liverpool and maybe even Chelsea like the runaways, and everyone else just plays catch up at the minute.
Well, there's just too much money. I mean, Man City, who I used to watch quite a bit when I wasn't watching the Rovers, they've got just too much money, really. It's just unfair. They can buy every player under the sun. They'll probably get Messi next year. And, I just feel that there's, at least Man United, they generate the money. They don't get it from oil. As I say, I've fallen out of love with the Premier League to a great extent. I think the great goal for Doncaster Rovers at this moment in time is the Championship.
Yeah, I'd have to 100% agree with that. And finally, we're sort of turning away from the Premier League now, but I think if we sort of stayed in the Championship, but imagine if, let's say 5, 10, 15 years' time, we did have at least one season of top-flight football, I wouldn't expect to go straight back down, but, if it was under Andy Butler, for example, who kind of reminds me of a Dave Penny type manager where he's like player to manager and sort of learning on the job, would you feel like Andy Butler would have the youth academy prospects and the first team talent like your Reece Jameses and your Matt Smith maybe on a permanent deal, or your Josh Sims on a permanent deal, or your Fajiri Okunabiri's, and maybe get some new talent in as well that's of higher quality as well as the current players? Would you think that if we got a season of top flight football, we could definitely get a few wins under our belt against some of the teams like your Newcastles if they were still in there, or your Fulhams, or maybe get one of the big guys on a 1-0 win or something?
Yeah, I mean, look, we knocked Blackburn out of the FA Cup, didn't we? That Championship team. I think Andy Butler's a great guy. I think it's a good appointment, and I really hope he succeeds. I'm not so sure he'll make the top two. I think I personally think it'll be Hull and Sunderland. But I think the next four, yeah, we should be in the next four. And, you know, the playoffs, we were very unlucky last year, very unlucky against Charlton. And I think we might have well beaten Sunderland in the final, like Charlton did. But we'll see. I think if Andy can get us in the playoffs, and ideally, I'd like to play somebody like Lincoln City in the semis, and then get ideally Peterborough in the final, because we always beat Peterborough. So I think we've got to pay them twice. That's why I don't think Peterborough will make the top two, because I think we'll take some points off Peterborough.
Yeah, 100%. And I think I said recently after the Gillingham review, I said that playoffs was probably my ambition. And I think, you know, if we can get past the semi-finals, get into at least the final, or even win the playoffs, I think that is definitely the most progress that we've made since we were back down in League One in 2014. Because, you know, the closest we got to the Championship was the playoff semi-finals a couple of years ago. So under Grant McCann. So I think that, you know, if we do get to the playoff final or win it, then it is definitely massive progress. But John, thank you so much. Absolute honour to have you on the channel, and you know, you've dared us to dream for so many years, and here on Forever Football DRFC we're going to keep daring to dream and keep providing coverage for this club and keep giving fans a voice. But thank you very much, John.
Thanks, Aaron. Thank you very much.
And thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video. Stay tuned on Friday because we've got the preview for the MK Dons match. Got some daily reports to come, I'm sure, during the week. And of course, we've got our review from MK Dons. And don't forget, we are covering England matches. So stay tuned for the 25th of March. We're going to see San Marino clash. We're going to review that, preview that the day before. And stay tuned for all the England coverage we're going to have on the channel. But thank you very much, guys. My name is Aaron Chalner. He's been John Ryan, and that, my friends, is full time. Rovers till I die. Let's get 3 points on Saturday.